In the quiet hills of rural West Virginia stood a forgotten estate known as the Ridgewood House. By the late 1940s, most people avoided the place. Locals said strange things happened there after sunset. Lights flickering behind broken windows, faint voices echoing through the trees, and the smell of decay drifting down the valley. But the Ridgewood family had lived there for generations, keeping to themselves, hidden from the world and its questions. No one really knew how many Ridgewoods there were. The census records were a mess, names repeated, ages mixed, and deaths unrecorded. The mailman said he'd seen at least 10 of them once, all pale and quiet, watching from the porch with the same haunting blue eyes. The town doctor refused to go back after one visit, claiming the house was too cold, even in July. The story of their isolation began long before anyone alive could remember. In the late 1800s, the first Ridgewoods arrived, a man named Elias and his wife, Margaret. They were farmers at first, simple people. But when a fever swept through the county, killing most of their neighbors, Elias forbade anyone from leaving the property. He built fences, locked gates, and told his children the outside world was cursed. Over time, those children grew, married among themselves, and never left the land. By 1910, the Ridgewoods had become their own kind of mystery. They spoke little to outsiders, lived off their livestock and crops, and buried their dead on the same hill behind the barn. A few travelers passing through the area reported seeing deformed figures near the woods, moving awkwardly, almost silently. But no one dared investigate. The family's reputation was enough to keep strangers away. Then came the disappearance of a county surveyor in 1926. He had been sent to measure the land for a new road. His horse returned to town without him, covered in mud. Search parties combed the area, but found only his hat near the Ridgewood fence line. When questioned, Elias's grandson claimed no one had seen the man. The sheriff couldn't prove otherwise, and the matter was dropped. But after that, the Ridgewood name was spoken only in whispers. Years later, in 1939, a traveling photographer named Henry Cole passed through the region. Curious about local legends, he asked a storekeeper about the Ridgewoods. Against warnings, he went up the dirt road to see the house himself. He stayed for 3 days, and when he returned, he looked ill. He never showed anyone the photos he took. A year later, he died in his sleep. When his belongings were sold, a box of undeveloped film labeled Ridgewood was found among his things. Most of it was destroyed in a fire before it could be processed. Only one image survived, a faded picture showing several people standing in front of the old house. Their faces almost identical, their eyes empty, their expressions blank, as if carved from wax. After the war, Ridgewood House fell into ruin. The roof caved in and vines covered the windows. People said they could still hear crying from the property at night. A few teenagers from town tried to explore the place in 1949, but they ran out screaming, saying they had found bones under the floorboards. The sheriff checked the site but found nothing. Soon after, the house was condemned and sealed off. By the early 1950s, only one Ridgewood was believed to be alive, an old woman named Cora. She lived alone in a small shack near the edge of the property, refusing all help. When she died in 1957, her body was found clutching a wooden box. Inside were yellowed papers, family records written in shaky handwriting, and a note that said, "The blood never left the hill." The Ridgewood land was auctioned years later, but no one stayed there for long. Workers reported strange sounds from the empty house. Tools went missing. Doors slammed without wind. Eventually, the property was abandoned once more. Today, the remains of the Ridgewood estate still stand beneath the overgrown trees. The graves on the hill are unmarked, the wood rotted, the soil sunken in places. Locals say if you stand there after dark, you can still hear footsteps in the grass and see faint blue eyes watching from the shadows. No one has ever uncovered the full truth about what happened to the Ridgewoods. Some say it was isolation that twisted them. Others say it was something older, a curse passed down through generations. But whatever it was, it never truly ended. The land still breathes their silence. The air still carries their memory, and the name Ridgewood remains one no one in the valley dares to speak aloud.